What is a paradox? Well, a paradox is a statement or a concept that is or seems to be self-contradictory. So here's some easy examples. I always lie. Now, if that's true, then it's not true. That's an example of a paradox. Here's another one. No keyboard detected. Press F1 to continue. So that seems to be self-contradictory. If there's no keyboard, how can you press F1? You can save money by spending it. Again, that seems to be self-contradictory, but actually that's true as well. For example, if you spent money on cavity wall insulation, then you would save money on future heating bills. Here are some real life examples of paradoxes. Now these first ones are everyday paradoxes. They are paradoxes that seem to be self-contradictory. To shut down your computer, first click start. Well, to shut something down by clicking start seems self-contradictory. You have to be cruel to be kind. Well, they are two opposites. That seems to be contradictory. Less is more. A well-known saying. When you increase your knowledge, you understand how little you know. Well, that seems to be self-contradictory, but actually it's not. What happens is your unknown unknowns become your known unknowns. And really that just means that you start understanding what you don't know. So that's an example of an everyday paradox, something that seems to be self-contradictory. Now here's some real-life examples from the field of logic. These are called logical paradoxes. These are paradoxes that are absolutely self-contradictory. Here's the first one. My nose will grow. Now, if that's true, then his nose won't grow, which makes what he's saying a lie, which means his nose will grow. So that's an example of a logical paradox, something that's absolutely self-contradictory. Here's an easier example. If you didn't get this message, call me. Well, you can see how that's a logical paradox. Your mission is to not accept this mission. Do you accept? Again, that's an example of a logical paradox. And then one more example. Youth would be an ideal state if it came a little later in life. Well, youth can't come a little later in life. That's a paradoxical expression. Now, an oxymoron, that's a term that is seemingly self-contradictory, is also a version of a paradox. So let's look at some of these. Female gunman. Gunman, who's a female. Of course it's possible, it's only seemingly a self-contradictory term. Fresh raisins. Well, raisins are dried grapes, so the idea of them being fresh is a paradox. Bittersweet. Self-contradictory terms. Escaped prisoner. Well, the minute he's escaped, he's not a prisoner. So let's do a quick summary. A paradox, a statement or a concept that is or seems to be self-contradictory. There are two types. Everyday paradox. So these are ones that seem to be self-contradictory. To shut down your computer, first click start. Looks odd, but actually it's accurate. Logical paradox. Youth would be an ideal state if it came a little later in life. Well, yes it would, but it can't. That's a logical paradox. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out some of our other videos on grammarmonster.com. You'll always catch us on Twitter and Facebook.